So in this video we're going to look at what the impact would have been on Canada in a War Plan Red scenario. War Plan Red is a series of hypothetical war plans developed by the United States during the interwar period and outline potential strategies for a conflict with the British Empire, particularly Canada. While these plans were never executed, exploring the hypothetical scenarios allowed us to consider the potential impact on Canada had the United States enacted the War Plan Red. In the event of War Plan Red being executed, military operations would have likely involved US forces conducting offensive actions against Canadian territories. The specifics of these operations would have developed on the strategies outlined in the plan, but they might have included amphibious landings and ground invasions. The hypothetical invasion and occupation of Canada by US forces would have had significant ramifications for the Canadian population. Occupied territories might have experienced military rule with potential disruptions to civilian life, restrictions on movement, and changes to local governance. War Plan Red would have undoubtedly disrupted the Canadian economy. Key economic sectors including agriculture, manufacturing and trade would have faced severe challenges. The redirection of resources towards the war effort and the potential destruction of infrastructure could have resulted in long-lasting economic consequences. Social and cultural consequences. The social fabric of Canada would have been profoundly affected. The occupation would likely have led to widespread displacement, social upheaval, and changes in cultural dynamics. Resistance movements might have emerged among the Canadian population, leading to a complex and potentially volatile situation, very much like what we saw in France during World War II. The execution of War Plan Red would have strained diplomatic relations between the United States and other nations, especially with the British Empire. The global political landscape would have been reshaped with potential repercussions for future alliances and international cooperation. The humanitarian impact on the civilian population cannot be overlooked. War Plan Red, if implemented, would have resulted in casualties, displacement and human suffering. Humanitarian crises would have unfolded, demanding international attention and intervention. Assuming the conflict had come to an end, the reconstruction and rebuilding process in Canada would have been a monumental task. The United States, as the occupying force, might have been responsible for aiding in the recovery and rehabilitation of Canada's economy, infrastructure and societal institutions. While War Plan Red remained a theoretical exercise, examining its potential impact on Canada underscores the complexities and far-reaching consequences of military planning. The real-world implications of such a conflict would have been severe, affecting every aspect of Canadian life. Thankfully, diplomatic solutions prevailed, and Canada and the United States continued to maintain a peaceful and cooperative relationship, solidifying their status as close allies rather than adversaries. Now, one thing that could have put a spanner in the works is if Canada had claimed neutrality, and this would have been made an invasion of Canada even more complex. But the likelihood is the US would have invaded Canada because that's the nearest border with a British Empire country. And had close ties with the British Empire, and so Canada would need to have been taken by America before they did anything else. Likewise, they'd have probably have turned military forces towards the Caribbean as well, to those countries such as Jamaica and Bermuda, where there were British interests, and they, because they were part of the British Empire as well, so they'd have probably taken over those as well. They'd probably have done not large scale naval naval operations and beach landings and all the rest of it, but they would have put some troops on those lands, those countries, islands, mainly because that would have just, the British could have used those as jumping off points into America, if any planned counterattack into American soil. And likewise, Canada, that would have been the reason for invading Canada, and that would have been their first objective, is to remove any potential British counterattack into American soil, before they could then look at expanding elsewhere and taking other parts of the British Empire, in Asia and stuff like that, and blocking sea lanes and all the rest of it. That would have been their first challenge, is to eliminate Canada from the situation and occupy, and also the Caribbean, because those could have been used as naval bases by the British. Anyway, that's all for this week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.